Welcome to The Missing Workflow, a podcast by Bridge RM. I'm Sheri Yates. If you're in mortgage servicing, I want you to think about something. Your servicing system is great at tracking data, loan balances, payment histories, investor codes. But when it comes to managing the actual workflow, the steps, the deadlines, the handoffs, the oversight, you're probably doing that outside the system, on spreadsheets and emails in your head. Today we're going to talk about why that's costing you money and what you can do about it. Here's something I've seen over and over again in mortgage servicing shops. You've got a servicing system, maybe it's Black Knight, maybe it's FICS, maybe it's something else, and it does what it's designed to do. It holds your loan data, it processes payments, it tracks escrow, it generates reports. But here's the gap. The system tracks the details, but it doesn't manage the workflow. Let me give you an example. Default management. Your system knows a loan is 90 days delinquent. It's got the dates, the loss mitigation codes, the attorney referral information. But does it tell your team what to work on today? Does it prioritize which loans need attention right now? Does it flag when a process step was missed? Does it give management a dashboard showing how the team is performing against critical deadlines? Usually the answer is no. And that's not a knock on the servicing system. That's not what it was built for. But the result is that your team is managing complex, high-stakes workflows outside the system. They're building spreadsheets, they're setting calendar reminders, they're sending emails asking for status updates, they're doing manual tracking of processes that really should be automated. And when you're managing workflows manually, things fall through the cracks. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. So where does this gap hurt the most? Let me walk through some real examples. First, legal deadlines. FHA requires you to initiate first legal action within specific timeframes, and every state has different rules. Miss that deadline by one day and you're looking at an $8,000 curtailment across a portfolio that can add up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Your servicing system has the dates, but it's not managing the 50-state complexity, the extensions, the recalculations, the work queues. That's a workflow problem. Loss drafts. When there's property damage and an insurance claim, you've got to manage those loss draft funds, inspections, contractor draws, disbursement approvals. This process lives almost entirely outside your servicing system. You're tracking it in spreadsheets, maybe a shared drive, maybe email chains. There's no centralized view, no automated escalation when something's past due, no reporting for management, default reporting. Your investors and regulators want to see specific metrics on your default management performance. Pulling those reports often means extracting data from multiple sources, manipulating it in Excel, and hoping nothing got missed. That's a manual workflow that takes hours, sometimes days, and it's error-prone. TRS scores. If you're struggling with your tier ranking system scores, it's often because the processes that drive those scores aren't being managed systematically. The data exists in your servicing system, but the workflow to ensure timely, compliant actions, that's on your team to manage manually. Every one of these areas has the same fundamental problem. The data is in the system, but the workflow isn't. And that gap is where losses, inefficiency, and compliance risk live. At Bridge RM, we build workflow solutions for mortgage servicers, not generic project management tools, but purpose-built workflow applications designed for the specific challenges you're dealing with in servicing. Here's what I mean. We offer a powerful workflow platform to build First Legal Watch, our first legal deadline management application. It takes the complexity of 50-state first legal requirements and turns it into an automated, monitored, managed workflow. Your team gets work queues, management gets dashboards, deadlines get recalculated automatically. One missed First Legal can cost your company approximately $8,000. But First Legal Watch is just one example. We can build workflow solutions for any area where you're struggling with that gap between data and process. Lost drafts, we can build a workflow that tracks every step from claim to disbursement with automated escalations and full audit trails. Default reporting, we can automate the data extraction, validation, and assembly, so what used to take days takes minutes. TRS score management, we can build the workflow that drives timely compliance actions. The point is, if there's an area in your servicing operation where the details are tracked in the system, but the workflow isn't, where your team is managing critical processes with spreadsheets and emails, we can design a solution for that. So, what does it look like to work with us? It starts with a conversation. You tell us where you're struggling, what's falling through the cracks, where are you losing money, what processes are your team managing manually that keep you up at night. We design a workflow solution tailored to your specific needs, not a one-size-fits-all product. An application built around your processes, your rules, your reporting requirements. Because we know that every servicing shop is a little different and the solution needs to fit how you actually operate. The solutions we build come with the things your team needs to actually manage work effectively. Work queues so people know what to do today. Management dashboards so leadership has visibility. Trending reports so you can see if things are getting better or worse. And automated monitoring so the system catches problems before they become costly. And because we build on the decisions platform, the rules engine is flexible and powerful. When regulations change, when your processes evolve, when you need to add new logic, the system adapts. Here's my challenge to servicing leaders. Think about where your team is spending time managing workflows outside the servicing system. Think about the spreadsheets, the manual tracking, the processes that depend on someone remembering to check something. Now think about what it would mean if those workflows were automated, monitored, and managed with real oversight and real reporting. If that's what Bridge RM builds. Workflow solutions for mortgage servicing, whether it's first legal deadlines, lost drafts, default reporting, TRS scores, or something else entirely. If you're struggling with it, let's talk. Visit bridgerm.com to schedule a conversation. We'd love to hear what's keeping you up at night and show you how we can help. Thanks for listening to The Missing Workflow. I'm Sheri Yates with Bridge RM. See you next episode.